Okay. Hi, and welcome to From First Kiss to Wedded Bliss. My name is Marcy Sullivan, and I'm your host. Today, joining me is Dan Purcell, and he is the host of the Get Your Marriage On podcast and the creator of the Intimately Us app. Dan, welcome. I am so
Thank,
glad you're here.
thank you. Happy to be here. Thanks, Marcy.
Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you, my husband and I really have enjoyed using your resources over the years.
Hmm.
We refer many people to Intimately Us.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things we really enjoy about it so much is that it's so tastefully done, for one,
Uh-huh.
very Christian friendly.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I wondered if you'd like to share a little bit about what kind of got you started in helping couples in this way.
Oh yeah. I would imagine if you went back 8 years ago and told me I'd be doing this, I would have not believed you one bit. It's like the last thing I ever thought I would be doing. Um, I have a background in software development, and one day I had a conversation with a friend. And in this conversation, he opened up about his sex life, which a lot of guys might talk about that. It's like locker room talk or bro talk. It was not like that at all. He was basically saying, in all sincerity, ever since he and his wife really started focusing on improving their sex life, everything else in his life improved. His marriage improved. He's earning more money at work. He's sleeping better. His health is better. Like everything is better once they really figured the sex out. But it was a journey for them to get there. And he was telling me a lot of those things. And he and his wife have a very adventurous sex life too. And so just I got a pretty good picture of like what he and his wife like to do. And I really struggled with that conversation. I was blushing the whole time. I was uncomfortable because I grew up thinking if you want to be a spiritual person, you suppress your sexuality because they're kind of opposites. But here I am with a friend that kind of seems to have both. And it just just how I like he had something I didn't have, and I really wanted that. But how do I get that without betraying who I am in the process? So it put me in a dilemma. I went home that I went home that night to my wife Emily and said, "Hey, you never guessed what kind of conversation I had with so and so," and I was right. She would never have guessed. And that night, we had probably our most intimate, vulnerable conversation we've ever had about sex in our marriage, and we'd been married 13 years to that point. And it was like a 5 hour conversation. And it was a wonderful conversation. We're both really pulling back the curtain of our heart. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Uh, am I a good lover to you in bed? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Like, what things have you always thought you wanted to do or try, but were too afraid to ask? And so many other questions just came up from all this. Long story short, we both concluded we definitely are living beneath our privileges as a couple. We've got a lot more we want to learn. And so together we really stepped into the journey. We started with some books. We found some really good books that really inspired us and motivated us and helped us know we're on the right track. And fast forward a few months. Now, things that work for me are getting better. Marriage is better. I'm sleeping better. Parenting to get better. The grass is greener. The sky is bluer. Everything else in life, just like my friend said, happened. It was true for me. Now, I was on fire. I needed to share what I was learning with other people, but I didn't know how to do that. But I do know how to write code. So my wife and I, we created an app, the Intimately Us app. We put it on the App Store, and to our surprise, it took off. And that's what just launched us into what we do now full time, which is Get Your Marriage On, helping couples improve sex and intimacy in their marriage.
I love it. And like I said, my husband and I enjoy that app very much. Just got done with that Sexy September challenge that you were
Woo!
doing.
Yes.
In fact, I didn't even have to say anything. My husband thought of that all on his own. So,
Nice. Great.
yes, absolutely. Now, it's really about being intentional, I think. A lot of these things that we're doing is just bringing it to the forefront. And that's one thing I think is great about the Intimately Us app. What do you think in regards to how does the app work? Okay. And also, the idea of just little things making a big difference.
Yeah, like you always say, Marcy, it's not just about commitment, it's about connection in marriage, right? I think
Yes.
that's the heart of the app too. You can do big, grandiose gestures of love for your spouse, uh, sporadically, or you can do small, little, tiny, but intentional acts regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're comparing the two, the couple that's doing the small, little acts consistently, over the years are going to have such a stronger marriage than this more sporadic ones.
Mm-hmm.
So the heart of the app, it really is, can I inspire you to think relationally, intimately, and intentionally in your relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Because come on, marriage is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to grow you. And there's a whole lot of joy in that. Now, the app has a lot of features like the daily intimacy challenge that we talk about, but there's some, I think they're kind of goofy but fun, like bedroom games built in the app,
Mm-hmm.
like Connect Four play.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the old classic Connect Four where you drop the tiles but
Yes.
if you win, you get to collect all the favors of the four tiles that you have. We have another one called Battle Strip, which is like the classic battleship game, but
Mm-hmm.
it's with items of clothing. So you try to sink each other's clothes. It's a stripping game.
Uh-huh.
And but the main game there too is the Intimately Us game, where you take turns and there's a timer. So it's like rub her back for 2 minutes, and then it swaps and then she does something for him, and it just gets spicier and spicier as it progresses. And most people do not finish the game, and that's by design.
Yes. No, I love it because it does kind of give you, I don't know, my husband and I talk about different types of sex, whether there's the fast food or the home cooking or the
Oh yeah.
gourmet. And I
Uh-huh.
think when you add something like that, it tends to stretch it out, makes it more gourmet, a few more courses in the meal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Right.
that's
Right.
awesome. Well, we've learned a lot from you, honestly, and very glad you're doing what you're doing. But a
Thank
lot of what I'm doing is really for the women.
you.
And so I'm going to ask you this. Many women feel too tired, too busy, or just not in the mood. What are a few small, doable ways that they can begin to reignite connection with their spouse?
Great. So, Marcy, tell me more about is there a particular woman that a woman that you have in mind? Why is she tired and stressed?
Okay, well, I think a lot of moms can get in that zone for sure,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
And or if it's not motherhood, it might be career. My
Hmm.
ladies are probably in the age range of 25 to 55. So
Uh-huh.
there could be a multitude of reasons for that, but I would say mostly motherhood. Let's just go for that.
Okay. Because my answer to that question is going to really depend on why.
Ah,
Why do they feel, tired and stressed or too busy,
hmm.
just out of the mood? Because um, blanket advice isn't going to just work. So understanding the why matters. For example, if you just gave birth to a baby and you're nursing,
Hmm.
and it's not your only child, you have other kids that you're also tending to, well,
Right.
guess what? You not being in the mood is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
It's okay, right? It's a good judgment not to, otherwise, you
Mhm.
probably neglect the infant or just other things won't get taken care of. So there are times and seasons where it's probably okay. Now, I'm giving you permission to not have to always be in the mood, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah.
But this is different than a situation where um, I'm uncomfortable being intimate with my husband for various reasons.
Mm.
Um, it, and it's not good judgment then to not be in the mood.
Right.
Meaning the reasons preventing you from a deeper connection with your spouse are because maybe there's some fears that you don't want to confront in yourself, or
Mhm.
maybe there's some uh, uh, insecurities that you would rather not address. So it's more
Mhm.
convenient to take the, oh, I'm tired or I'm in the mood, or find yourself being busy with other things as a
Mhm.
way of avoiding the real work of growing and developing yourself to be more capable of intimacy in your relationship. So you got to understand what it is and then address it from there.
Right. Well, those are good insights for sure. And I was trying to think of, for myself personally, I've always been of the mindset that, I don't know, like you, sex makes everything better. So,
Yes.
so I'm pretty much available whenever. It's been a while since I've had young kids in the house, but I can remember those days when that would be really exhausting. And I think that's great that you say, you know what? That's understandable. Take a rain check. It's okay sometimes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we don't want to get into those patterns where we're not intimate at all, right? Because that
Mhm.
can hurt the relationship too.
Can I tell a story that might help
Sure.
your listeners?
Uh-huh.
There's a couple I coach couples.
Hmm.
One particular couple I've coached a while ago. She for whatever reason they couldn't have sex in their relationship for a health reason. But she had this story in her mind that husband needs a release. If a husband doesn't get a release, he's going to go somewhere else, or I'm not being a good wife. And because that belief was so strong, she would will herself to engage sexually with him, even though she was in pain and just wasn't in the mood. But and he was glad to accept. So he had a part to play in it too. But over the years, it created this strong script that sex was no longer about. She felt erased in it. She felt she wasn't a part of the sexual experience. It was really there to serve and prop up him, and that she had a duty to perform. And when you engage, if that's the meanings alive in sex, it's you're going to have a very difficult time enjoying it. You're going to have a very difficult time feeling like uh, it's a bonding experience for you and your spouse. That duty script, if that's so strong and alive, it will it kills passion so quickly. Anything you have to do something.
Hmm.
Sex hates a job. It does not want to be assigned a job or to prove something or to prove I'm a good wife or whatever the situation, right?
Uh-huh.
The moment you give it a job, it rebels. It goes, no. And it's not fun. It won't be enjoyable. And it doesn't create a good marriage. So examine your scripts. What is it really the motivation here? Now, this couple, they've really worked through it. They've really, like, for her, she felt threatened every time he got aroused. If he's aroused, uh-oh, now I gotta. So she would like purposely do things to avoid situations where he might get aroused, like the flannel pajamas to bed, or
Right.
avoid showering together, or like situations like that, right?
Mhm.
Because in her mind, his arousal meant a threat to her freedom. She didn't think it in those terms at the time. She didn't
Mhm.
have the language for that. But once she like got that clicked, she's like, "Well, that's the dumbest thing in the world. He should be able to be aroused as much as he wants, and that's what happens. And
Mm.
I don't have to engage every single time. I'll engage when I want to engage." She just basically took back her freedom,
Mhm.
and then it was no longer about duty and obligation. It was about, hey, I'm his turn on, and that turns me on, and I like that. So I'm going
Right.
to engage because I want to be there. And it changed their marriage.
I love that. And I think it really is a shift in perspective a lot of times, isn't it? I
Yeah.
know for me, when I was a young bride, I often saw it as some sex was something being taken from me. But when I started seeing it as more of a gift to be
Hmm.
received, and he wanted to please me and he wanted to take care of me, then why wouldn't I want that gift?
Yes, right.
So
You
yeah,
deserve a pampering once in a while.
it is a
Uh-huh.
perspective for sure.
Yeah.
And I think like what you're saying too is that we all have to take ownership of our own selves and how what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we need, right?
Yes.
And not try to be one way of saying it is on the other person's paper, getting, let them be responsible for them and you be
Yes.
responsible for you. Yeah.
Yes.
So, as we're talking, you do coach couples. So, what are some common stuck points that you've noticed in your years of working with couples.
Oh, there's so many. I mentioned the duty mind
Hmm.
frame. That's
Hmm.
that's a very common one. Um, every marriage will have a sexual desire discrepancy, meaning one person will be higher desire for sex, the other will be lower desire for sex. It's like a law of the universe.
Uh-huh.
But it's not just sex. One person will be higher desire for saving than the other, or
Mm,
for disciplining children, or having children, how to
right.
spend your vacation, how to deal with in-laws. Like you'll always have a higher and desire spouse for those things. So just because you and your spouse have differences in desire doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means you're a completely normal couple.
Hmm.
Right? And having differences in desire isn't a bad thing, but how you relate to it.
Hmm.
So that's a big sticking point. A lot of couples think, oh no, my spouse isn't on the same page as me when it comes to sexual desire. I got to fix them, either by dragging them down
No.
or bring myself up to their level or whatever, however you frame it. But I think that's not a helpful approach. I think a more helpful approach is how do we see what are the strengths that we have in each of our respective positions?
Mm,
And how do we build on each other's strengths to create something meaningful that we both want? So
hmm.
that's another stuck point that I see couples have. Another one common is generally speaking, if you take a wide uh, swath of the population,
Hmm.
generally speaking, men tend to have higher desire for sex than women.
Hmm.
And they think that's because of testosterone. Thank you. Testosterone is helps with a lot of that biological drive, especially for men
Hmm.
in sexual interest. So there are situations, and not just sexual interest, but also interest in novelty. So like variety of different positions, sexual behaviors.
Hmm.
Testosterone helps facilitate a lot of that interest also. And herein comes a stuck point is one spouse, usually the husband, but not always, wants more variety. Let's do all these things, more novel. Let's different positions, locations, behaviors, you name it. And the
Right.
other person's like, no, I kind of like the same old, the routine. And that's also a stuck point that I see a lot of couples run into.
Well, that's
Would you
good.
like more, or is that
I
good?
think
Or
that's great. In
uh-huh,
fact, it's so funny because I think in that case, with the variety and all of that, my husband is in many ways very happy with just the same old, same old. Like he'll be peanut butter and jelly man all day long.
right, uh-huh,
And he has purposely told me, I'm willing to try other things, but you go ahead and figure out what kind of things you want to do.
uh-huh,
And so the app has been fun with that.
mhm,
I think we got introduced to the Christian sex positions also through,
uh-huh,
and
yep.
yeah, so there's a lot of different things that we can do and enjoy.
Mhm.
And in this case, it's the wife that's doing the exploring.
That's good. That's good. That's how it works in your marriage. That's fantastic.
Yes.
But I got to tell you, it would mean different things if
Uh-huh.
he's coming to you with an idea in your marriage
Uh-huh.
than you coming to him with a new idea,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of men buy their wives lingerie,
Hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's a very different meaning when the wife bought herself a new set of lingerie.
Oh.
Like the meaning
Mm.
changes and shifts depending on who's higher and lower desire in that
Uh-huh.
moment. So it's good that you pay attention to that in your own relationship because sometimes,
Right.
like in this case, if your higher desire for novelty and your husband's lower desire, him suggesting something novel is
Uh-huh.
going to have a very different meaning than you
Right.
suggesting something novel.
Hmm. Yes, in our case, sometimes I don't want to be the one to make the decisions and to lead in that respect. So I'll just pick out a few things that are interesting to me and I'll lay them out there to him.
Like A, B, C, D, yeah, and you
Yeah,
let him
yeah.
choose.
What do
Uh-huh.
you want? What do you think? And
Oh,
so
that's good. That
that
works.
works for us too. Yes. So uh, let's see, moving on here. Uh, okay, again, for women for a woman who feels distant from her husband sexually or emotionally, and I know those are really connected, aren't they?
They
Sexually,
very much are,
emotionally.
yes. Mhm.
What are two or three things that steps she might take to begin renewing the bond if she's, and again, is that one hard to know when you don't know the reasons for the for the distance?
Yeah, yeah, you need
Would you
to
say something in general?
if you have resentments, you need to address them. Resentment, so you've heard the term canary in the coal mine.
Yes.
Listeners, I think people understand that. When you mine for coal, back then, they'd bring a canary with them
Mm-hmm.
because canaries are much more sensitive to toxins in the air than
Mm-hmm.
humans are. So if the canary dies, that's like the signal, get out of the coal mine.
Right.
Uh, right? There's some carbon monoxide or some sort of invisible toxin in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Resentment is a canary in the coal mine of a relationship. It's a check engine light that something's off in your
Mm-hmm.
relationship. Oftentimes, resentments come because you've given up a choice. You've delegated a choice that's originally yours to own to someone else, and you're unhappy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was, and we do it for all sorts of reasons. We do it in three ways. We act out when we don't get what we want. That's like trying to bully the other person, getting what you want.
Mm-hmm.
The second is we accommodate.
Yes.
That's like fold in. Okay, fine, we'll do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then we resent. And the third is we avoid. They're all A words, act out, avoid, and accommodate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Avoiding is like, okay, we'll just not do any of that.
Yeah.
And so we get stuck in these patterns. So if you feel emotionally distant, pay attention. Because I feel emotionally distant, do I tend to act out? Do I avoid or do I accommodate? Uh, and what we really need is the fourth A word, which is to adult, which is not a fun thing to do, but we need to kind of grow up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I tend to try to, what is this situation teaching me that I need to grow more into?
Mm-hmm.
There was a time when my wife and I were emotionally distant. We had a disagreement about how to handle the COVID vaccine in our marriage, uh, as many other couples or whatever it might be, right? One
Uh-huh.
person in our marriage, I won't say who, was on the side of the vaccine's a bad idea. The other one's like, no, we should do this because if we do, that means we get that little card that gives us a pass. We can go on airlines, we can go to like events, like
Uh,
it's like a ticket, right? It's more freedom with it. The other's like, no, it's a bad idea. It's not researched. And both people had valid things, but we let that difference really drive us apart
mm-hmm.
because we were trying so hard to convince the other person that our position was right.
Yes.
And uh, instead of just really settling down and recognizing our spouse has just as much right to their own opinion and they can make their own choices just as
Mm-hmm.
much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so couples who can't let their spouse make choices that they may disagree with
Mm-hmm.
will always try to control their spouse
Mm-hmm.
to make the decisions that you want them to.
Mm-hmm.
This happens sexually too. I want, let's hypothetically, I want my spouse to be more sexually active with me. So I will place books on the pillow. I'll send her podcasts. I'll send her emails. I'll send her reminders. I'll buy her flowers with a little note with some sexual innuendo, like to kind of slide it in there, you know. It's, but she will feel manipulated. She'll
Uh-huh.
feel like I'm trying to control her, trying to manipulate her. And actually, I would be. It's true because I'm trying to create some sort of income. I'm trying to make her do something for me because it props up my view of things and the way I want to see her be in the marriage. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the struggle that couples have. It's that so when you feel emotionally distant, we tend to do things to try to get them
Mm-hmm.
to do things. A more mature stance could be my spouse has all the right in the world to make choices they want, even choices that disappoint me. But how do I handle my disappointment? Do I do it by trying to control them, manipulate them, accommodate them, act out, or
Mm-hmm.
do I avoid? Or can I really do the adult thing and learn how to love a person well? Who has different opinions and preferences to me, and maybe talk about them. But of
Mhm.
course, I can let her know how disappointed I am and how I feel, so she knows that the impacts of her choices have an impact on me and on the
Mhm.
marriage. But it really is this idea of mutuality. How can we get to what's best for the marriage, not always what's always just best for me?
Absolutely, Dan. That is awesome. One thing we like to say all the time is we're on the same team. So
Yeah.
you've got a team, one person can't win and one lose. You've got to both be winners, you know?
Uh-huh. Right.
And what you're talking about, I think, really is vulnerability. And
Yeah.
that's really hard for us.
It's very hard because it
Mhm.
means you have to shed your ego,
Uh-huh.
which is, and be humble.
Right?
And that's
Yes.
actually not easy to do. And I think that's why Jesus teaches the greatest commandment is to love,
Hmm.
because loving is not natural.
Yes.
It's easy to love your friends and hard to hate your enemies, but to love your enemies,
Yeah.
whew, that takes more work, right? It's not
Right.
the natural, easy thing to do.
Hmm.
But because it requires you to be vulnerable, like you said, and
Hmm.
shed your ego and be humble and
Mm.
all of those things.
Right. That is really good. And another thing you made me think of just now in regards to the controlling part is that generally, if we're trying to control something, it's because of some fear that we have. Would you agree with that? Have you seen
Oh
that?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Fear of something we can't control. You anytime you try to control something
Hmm.
that's out of your circle of control,
Hmm.
your anxiety will go up because
Yes.
you're usually responding out of fear. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that is good. All right. So here's a good one. I know the Bible tells us that husbands are to love their wives and wives respect their husbands. There's been a whole book written about it. Maybe you've heard of it, Love and
Uh-huh.
Respect.
Yeah,
How do you
yeah. Uh-huh.
how do you see respect playing out for men when it comes to the bedroom? Does that make sense? Uh, does respect
Yeah, it
have an
does.
effect on a
Um,
man and his desire?
I think both men and women want respect. It's not just men. And I think both men and women want love. It's not just women.
Mm.
Everyone. Like, why would you ever get in bed with someone that you didn't respect?
Uh-huh.
It'd be really hard to.
Right.
Why would you want to undress and be not only just physically naked, but also emotionally naked? Really let yourself be known, like your mind and your heart and your
Hmm.
spirit with another person, if you really didn't love them and respect them.
Right.
So I think we get it wrong in thinking the respectful thing would be to have sex with him. Therefore, I'm going to have sex
Uh,
to prove that I respect my husband.
uh-huh.
But that's backwards.
Right.
Because I respect who I am and because I respect my husband, or because I love who I am, I love my husband or I love my wife, is why I want to undress and kind of and be naughty and dirty with him. Right?
Okay.
We're
Well,
finding respect in the naughty and dirty, which is a
yes.
wonderful and beautiful thing too.
Right. Well,
Uh-huh.
where I'm coming from is I've heard it said that respect is an aphrodisiac for a man. So let's put it the other way. A wife is being very controlling, being very motherly, being very, you know, not respectful in those type of ways. So that kind of shuts a guy down,
Okay.
right? Does it? Does it not? In regards to his desire, if he's being treated that way?
Yeah, being not only his desire, but it shuts down her desire too. And here's why. Biologically speaking, we're not programmed to want to have sex with our primary caregiver or people that
Yes.
depend on us,
Yes.
right? We don't want to have sex with our children or our aging parents. So anytime in a marriage you're no longer equals, but you break into hierarchies where one person is more of that paternalistic role. Those are more the child role. And it doesn't matter. It could be the husband or the wife. You will lose sexual interest in that person.
Mm-hmm.
You just will.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, real love and real respect is learning how to be good friends, equals in
Mm-hmm.
all senses of that word. It doesn't mean you're the same, That
Right.
means you bring your strengths, they bring their strengths. You learn how to be real equals and yoked together in that.
All right. I appreciate that. We're running close on our time, but I want to give you an opportunity to share with our audience any of the projects that you're working on, anything coming up in the near future.
Wow, thank you. We have a lot going on always. I want to inspire all of your listeners and your Instagram followers and those you coach, everyone to really take a step forward in improving intimacy in their marriage. Because I think this is the most important part of how we learn and grow to love another person and love well. Um, uh, if you go to my website, getyourmarriageon.com,
Mhm,
I have a lot of resources there, a lot of free resources too. First thing you'll see is our app that was already mentioned, Intimately Us.
mhm,
And we have another app called Just Between Us, which is, think Intimately Us is the app you use when you're together in the bedroom. Just Between Us is the app you use when you're apart. So
mhm.
they kind of both go hand in hand. We have a in-person marriage retreat coming up next year, April, which I'm really excited about. And this is where it's 4 days, 4 nights, beautiful accommodations at a resort. We rent out the whole resort. So it's not like you're in a stuffy conference room of a hotel.
Mhm.
This is nice. And it's romantic, it's fun, and we do a deep dive on all things intimacy in your marriage.
That sounds great.
And then we have a cruise coming up next year.
Oh, I love
And
cruises.
yeah,
Where are
so
you
all
going
sorts
on
of
the
fun things coming.
cruise?
It's a Western Caribbean cruise. So,
Okay, great.
mhm.
Well, I'd like to close this out with one question. What is one intentional thing that you do to keep your marriage strong?
We spend time touching each other every morning in bed.
Excellent.
And it's a very it's sacred to us. It's wonderful, it's fun. And just the way we do that is
Mhm.
something we do.
Well, I really
I think
appreciate
it's
all your
like that.
great advice and input and for taking the time out to be with us today. So thank you so much, Dan. I'm gonna
Great.
turn off the recording.